How's it going, YouTube? Got FourthStarTCG here, and today I'd like to talk about gold stars versus shinings in 2025. These are two of Pokemon's most iconic series of cards featuring shiny Pokemon. Collectors love them, but there are some big differences that we've seen, especially over the past year, in the market for these cards. Gold stars have seen a huge increase in their prices. Multiple high-end English gold stars like Torchic and Rayquaza are estimated to be over $100,000 in PSA 10. I think we've seen a Torchic sale for somewhere in that neighborhood. Japanese counterparts are also seeing really significant increases. Torchic in PSA 10 sold for $43,000. Rayquaza first edition 10 sold for $40,000. Gyarados is $20K in a PSA 10. It's just insane. Nines are also seeing huge increases. It's not just the 10s. English cards like Rayquaza, Gold Star PSA 9 sold for $29,000. Pikachu sold for $9.3K. It's crazy. Latios, I've got my Latios Gold Star here. My copy, this card recently sold, I didn't sell it, but a copy in a 9 recently sold for $3.9K. It's just so crazy. Mudkip sold for $7.2K. Nuts. But comparatively, shining cards really haven't gone up all that much. They've gone up in the recent boom, but nowhere to the level of gold stars. If we look at English first edition shinings in a PSA 10, Charizard selling for $22K, Gyarados is selling for $18K, Mewtwo selling for $12K. These cards are certainly expensive, right? Don't get me wrong on that, but they're not reaching those numbers that the gold stars are. When you look at Japanese shinings in 9s, right? Japanese 9 shinings, really not all that expensive, again, comparatively. Celebi, I just bought a shining Celebi for $1,100 roundabout. Kabutops, pretty similar. Tyranitar, $3,000. Gyarados, round about that same level, 2.6, 2.8K. Now, these cards are pretty similar, right? The gold stars and the shinings, they feature shiny Pokemon, they're vintage. There was really only about 2 years between the oldest gold star and the earliest and the latest shining. A lot of people kind of separate these cards, but they really didn't come out all that far apart. A lot of these cards, they also feature the same Pokemon, right? We've got Shining Gyarados, and we've got Gyarados Gold Star. Same thing for Charizard, same thing for Mewtwo, same thing for Celebi, right? These cards are featuring the same Pokemon, they're the same gimmick, they're both shiny. So why are we seeing these differences? Why are gold stars selling for so much more in 2025 than shinings? And also, what does this mean for the long term? If you want to buy these cards, if you're interested in these cards, should you buy them now or should you wait? That's what I'm going to dig into in this video. So, first, why do we have these differences? Why are the gold stars selling for so much more than the shinings in 2025? Well, gold stars have a few things that really work in their favor to drive up the prices. First is supply. There's just a lot less EX era printed than there is Neo Destiny, Neo Revelation, and so forth. The Pokemon was just a lot less popular during the EX era than it was in the Neo era, which led to less EX era stuff being printed. Especially when we spread these out across sets, there's a lot less of each individual gold star printed. The Neo Shinings were part of a bigger print run for that specific set. Another factor in the gold star's favor is grading difficulty. It's a lot harder to grade a gold star in a 10 than it is a shining card. We can just look at some of the populations to give us an indication of both of these factors, the print run and the grading difficulty. For example, in English, PSA 10, first edition Shining Charizard has a population of 267 and an unlimited population of 384. The nines, when we look at the nines, first edition has 437 nines and unlimited has 1,186. So we're in the mid hundreds for 10s for both first edition and unlimited, and the nines, again, mid hundreds, one pushing into the 1000s. But when we look at the Gold Star, again, there's no print run differences here. There's just one print run. There are only 98 PSA 10 first edition, only 98 PSA 10 Gold Star Charizards out there. And there's only 552 nines. So if we were to combine those Shining Charizards, there's effectively like 1/6 or 1/7 the PSA 10 Gold Star Charizards than there are with the PSA 10 Shining Charizards. And nines, there's about 1/3 as many nines as there are 9 Shining Charizards. And these cards are both extremely popular and expensive, so there's no kind of price pressure or popularity pressure that's driving one to be more graded than another. In addition, Gold Stars have captured the hobby imagination much more than Shinings. For better or worse, whether you want to believe it's organic or real or manipulated or whatever you want to call it, but the market doesn't lie, and the market says that Gold Stars are more popular. They've got more hype, they've got more community interest behind them, they've got more people who want to collect them than the Shinings. Whether they're speculating on them, hoping they'll be worth more in the future, whether they're buying them because they love them and want to keep them in their collection forever, more people want the Gold Stars, more people want to talk about the Gold Stars. They have just ascended to a different level than the Shinings in terms of hobby interest. So that's why we see those crazy prices for Gold Stars not really trickling down all that much to Shinings. They're just different levels of interest within the hobby. Now, the big question, what does this mean for the future? What are prices going to do as we look forward? And no one can answer this question for real and give you a definitive answer, but I'm going to give my best shot. My answer to this is to learn for the future, we have to look to the past. Gold Stars have always been speculated on, much more than Shinings, and they've been a part of several bubbles. There was even a Gold Star specific bubble back in like 2013, which I assume many of us were not here for that bubble. I wasn't here for that bubble, but I've been told about it. Gold Stars are higher risk, but they're also higher reward. Because there's more hype, more community interest, there's more people who might be interested in buying these cards at very high prices. And Shinings are less volatile, but this means they might also offer less opportunities for big gains down the line. But one could also argue that Shinings have much more room to grow because the fundamentals are very similar, right? We've got both shiny Pokemon. Everyone loves shiny Pokemon. We've got popular Pokemon. We've got great artwork, right? I'd arguably say that the Shining artwork on things like the Neo Revelation Gyarados is much better than the Gold Star artwork, pretty much through and through. I think the Neo Destiny ones, artwork isn't there. The sort of the foil pattern often obscures a lot of the artwork, but they're still very cool and very unique with that foil pattern. Japanese Shinings especially, got a few of them here. Gyarados, Celebi, got a Tyranitar in here somewhere. There it is, Tyranitar. Japanese Shinings in lower grades like 9s, 8s, that kind of stuff, they're very, very affordable compared to gold stars. And I've been buying a lot of these Japanese shinings recently because I feel like the prices are really low for what they are. It's so attractive in terms of what you get, a card that has the fundamentals, the print number, the low print numbers, the difficulty to grade, that normally pushes most copies that are pretty much flawless down to a 9 or even an 8. You can get really good condition copies for not all that much money. I feel like the prices are so attractive for what you get for Japanese shinings in this market that I've been buying them. They're still fairly accessible, right? I mean, still, you're paying multiple thousands of dollars for these cards, Japanese shinings in 9s, in 8s, that kind of stuff. But compared to a lot of the other market for shiny cards, for these old vintage ultra rares, it's pretty much downright affordable compared to all of the other cards. So I think if you're going to buy something, you have to be aware of the entire market, right? The gold stars, higher risk, but possibly higher reward. Shinings, especially 9s, especially Japanese cards, I think the value proposition is really strong. And again, I put my money where my mouth is. I'm buying these shining cards, not necessarily buying a lot of gold stars in this market. I just think the prices, I've seen this movie before. The gold star prices, they go up, they're very volatile. If you want to play in that market, power to you. You might make a ton of money down the road. You'll make more money than I'm making on these shinings. But I think the safe money, the safe bet, is buying these shining cards. So that's what I've been doing. So 2025 gold stars versus shinings. The gold stars, they've got the popularity, they've got the hype, but sometimes maybe that's not what you're looking for. So let me know your thoughts on gold stars versus shinings in 2025 in the comments section below. Thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and stick around for more videos.